Welcome to Marco's Storybox, a place for immersive history told with care and clarity. If you enjoy compelling stories from the past, consider subscribing and joining our community. Today, we journey to the final days of a legendary city, the fall of Constantinople in 1453. On a pale spring morning, Constantinople wakes beneath a silver sky. The salt wind moves over roofs and courtyards, flowing toward Hagia Sophia, where candles tremble against golden mosaics. Beyond the land walls, another sound answers the bells, the slow iron breath of great cannons. For 1,000 years, the city guarded the straits where seas meet. It gathered wealth from caravans and ships, standing as a lantern of faith and learning. Now it is the last stronghold of a fading empire. Its emperor, Constantine the Palaiologos, knows he is standing at the edge of history. Across the fields, the young Sultan, Mehmed, listens to the thunder of artillery and hears in it the voice of destiny. He is 21 years old, brilliant, relentless, and certain. Between them rise the Theodosian walls, triple lines of stone, earth, and ditch that have humbled armies for centuries. Behind them stand too few defenders: Byzantine soldiers, Greek volunteers, Venetian and Genoese sailors, merchants who have become fighters, monks with borrowed spears. At their side is Giovanni Giustiniani Longo, a seasoned commander from Genoa. Food is short, powder is precious, hope is spent, coin by coin. Mehmed brings what the city cannot match: tens of thousands of soldiers, artillerymen, sappers, cavalry, and the disciplined core of the Janissaries. He brings ships to control the sea and engineers to move the earth. He brings a giant bombard cast by a master named Orban, a weapon whose iron throat will teach stone to remember that it is sand. The siege begins in early April. The guns set a rhythm: load, ram, spark, roar. The balls arc and crash into the walls. Dust rises like breath from wounded masonry. By day, the hammers of war beat. By night, the hammers of defiance answer. Men carry timber and stone, stacking sandbags by torchlight. Women bring water, bread, and prayers. Lanterns glow on the parapets. Campfires beyond the moat draw a ring of red stars around the city. At sea, the defenders trust the great chain across the mouth of the Golden Horn. It says, "Thus far and no farther." Ottoman galleys test it and fail. For a time, the harbor is a cupped hand. A few ships slip through with supplies and men, but the lands to the west are distant and divided. The city stands tall in the face of this knowledge. Mehmed changes the shape of the fight. If the front door is closed, he will open the back. He orders small ships dragged overland on greased timbers behind Galata and slid into the Golden Horn. People wake to a new sound: wood grating on earth, ropes hissing through pulleys. At dawn, masts stand in waters that should have been safe. The sanctuary has become a battlefield. The defenders launch fireships by night. Flames bloom on dark water, painting shields with fierce light. But crews cut lines, and currents shift the blaze. The attempt fails to change the balance. The garrison must now divide its thin strength once more. Archers check their strings. Gunners tamp powder with trembling hands. Priests bless men whose faces are black with smoke. Prophecy walks the streets. Some recall the saying that the city will fall and rise again, that a conqueror will be not only a destroyer, but also a founder. An eclipse darkens the sky. People search for meaning in the bitten moon. In Hagia Sophia, a great procession brings Latin and Greek clergy together. Candles drip wax tears. Incense rises. Quarrels fade in the shadow of necessity. The city remembers it is not only walls and titles, but a people. Across the lines, Mehmed shapes his own vision. He sees himself as Caesar of Rome, an inheritor of empire. He reviews powder and shot, rehearses the final storm, and speaks to his men of honor and purpose. He promises not only victory, but a place in the turning of an age. On the 28th of May, the city grows quiet. Shops close, people gather in squares and churches. The emperor walks the walls, speaking as a comrade among comrades. He asks forgiveness and promises to stand where danger is greatest. In the Ottoman camp, A deep silence holds. Orders move like wind through grass. Night seems to hold its breath. Dawn on the 29th of May breaks to drums and horns. The first wave rushes forward, irregular troops sent to spend the strength of the defenders. Ladders strike stone, arrows fall. Men hurl ladders back and heave stones, firing crossbows and early guns until their arms shake. The first wave breaks like surf and rolls away. The second wave comes on with shields and sappers. Fighting becomes close and personal. Breaches open and are stuffed shut with barrels, planks, and the bodies of the brave. The walls are more than stone. They are the will of those who stand upon them. Then, the third wave moves. The Janissaries, the Sultan's steel. They advance to kettle drums that do not hurry or slow. Standards ripple in the light. They step into a storm of bolts and bullets and keep stepping. On the wall, the defenders feel the weight change, as if a door meets a determined shoulder. Chroniclers disagree about the decisive breach. Some say it came at the gate of St. Romanus, where weeks of bombardment had weakened the wall. Others speak of a small postern gate, the Circa Porta, left open or forced. In smoke and shouting, certainty is scarce. We know that Giovanni Giustiniani Longo is gravely wounded and carried from the wall. The news moves faster than men can. Lines bend. Courage frays where it had been tightly woven. Emperor Constantine XIII refuses to leave. He casts aside the tokens of rank and fights as a common soldier. The last sight of him is uncertain. Some say he cried out that the city was lost, but he lived, then rushed forward. Others say he fell without a word, swallowed by the tide. His body is not found in a way that history can certify. In that absence, he becomes part of the city's legend. Banners change on the walls. Gates are forced. Soldiers pour into streets where laundry hangs from windows and bread cools on shelves. The first hours follow the harsh laws of siege, with terror and looting and frantic flight. Yet even in the tumult, a new order begins to take shape. Mehmed moves to restrain excess and to claim not only victory, but stewardship. He understands that fire wins battles, but order keeps cities. In Hagia Sophia, a vast crowd had gathered to pray. The doors open to soldiers. The great church becomes a mosque. A call to prayer rises beneath domes made for chants. It is shocking to many, and yet part of the logic of conquest in that age. The sound is beautiful and strange, like a new language in a beloved house. Mehmed stands in Hagia Sophia and commands respect for the place. He speaks of protections for communities. He calls for craftsmen and merchants to return, for the city to be repopulated. He imagines avenues, markets, and schools. He invites scholars and supports builders. He turns conquest into administration and vision. Under Ottoman rule, the city will bear the name Istanbul, among others. It will rise again as a cosmopolitan center of trade and governance. The skyline will change. The rhythms of life will change. Yet the wind will still move up the Bosporus at evening. Markets will still open at dawn. Streets will still carry the memory of all who walked them. Refugees will carry learning westward. Historians will debate numbers and moments. All will agree that the fall of Constantinople closed one age and opened another. The lessons are clear. Walls can stand for centuries, but ideas learn to throw stones farther. Courage multiplies force until fatigue breaks its hold. Leadership can warm and can burn. Belief shapes how people stand when they are tested. Cities are more than rulers and walls. They are vessels of human striving. And when a vessel cracks, the water finds new courses. Walk the land walls in your mind. See the scars where shot struck and the bricks that replaced fallen stone. Hear the echo of drums and bells, the cries in Turkish and Greek and Italian, the hiss of arrows, the shout when a ladder goes over, the prayer whispered by a boy whose hands are too busy to cross themselves. Smell the smoke in the sea. Feel the grit underfoot. Thank you for watching Marco's Storybox. If this story moved you, support the channel by subscribing, leaving a comment, and sharing this video with a friend. Your support helps bring more thoughtful history to life. Until next time, keep your curiosity bright and your heart open to the lessons of the past.